And good morning. Welcome to sunny day 2 at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 2 in Nelson Bay, New South Wales. Avril Tam here on the mic, joined by Callum Faulkner. How are you doing this morning, Callum?
Very good. It's a nice sunny day. A bit of a contrast to yesterday. No rain this morning, but it's a little bit breezy here. It's excellent throwing conditions.
Yeah, for sure. We saw some fantastic throwing skills on display yesterday with barely any wind, so we'll see how the teams do with a little bit of a breeze, but only a thrower's breeze, I would say. I'm looking forward to plenty of clean ultimate. We've got Oblivion Ultimate based out of Victoria, Melbourne against Southern Hills Ultimate Summit, who are based in South Australia, but I do hear they have a couple of Victorian pickups to support their team.
Yeah, very excited. Both rosters looking very deep. Lots of experience shared amongst these two teams. I think we're in for a cracker this morning.
Yeah, certainly on the Oblivion team, there are plenty of familiar faces who were at the World Ultimate Championships in Gold Coast, particularly their female matching players. As you said, a very deep roster, Cal.
Yeah, lots of experience there. I think we'll look for Oblivion to really run through their females today, as Allen fields the Frisbee from the pool. Goes to Walla.
And SHU is zone immediately, putting pressure on Oblivion.
Just a big swing there, as we see this zone. What Oblivion will do to work through it. Just a little over the top, just down there. Allen with a lovely bid, but I think the wind just kind of playing tricks with the heel zone. It's a little upline dishy. Jackie Chong goes over the top, has two receivers, and it is caught by Vanessa Gann. And that is a quick break to start for Southern Hills.
Southern Hills Ultimate. We talked about the female matching players on the Oblivion team, but SHU showing their female matching players have the goods too. Chong really running through that offense. She was part of that very intense cup, collapsing in on the thrower, generating that block. Then off to the races, using those legs to perfection. Also the lefty, I think, the lefty backhand, getting some nice shape to it. In the end, that was a break flick to Vanessa Gann in the end zone. So Southern Hills Ultimate off to a fast start this morning.
Yeah, and we're seeing the implementation of a zone very early on. Interesting to see them trap towards this high side, as our breeze today is flowing away from the camera towards the far side. It's an interesting zone look, and I think with a little bit of a gusty wind here, we can see a fair few more of them thrown on throughout the day, with Summit finding early success. So we'll see a very similar line out for Oblivion. As the pool comes in, expect that to get taken by the wind, and it looks like it will be a brick called by Allen. It looks like Summit are going to put on a similar zone again, so it's going to be another Pommy zone. 4 in the cup, 2 mids, 1 deep. This time, forcing the low side.
Yeah, it looks like Oblivion have not been spreading their players, all of them really in the same third of the field.
Yeah, Weller now with the Frisbee. Doesn't have lots of options, finds a lovely breakthrough there to Parks. Just a little dishy, but too tight in the space.
Foul's been called. That cup, as we said, very aggressive, and that is an accepted foul, so the disc will stay with Oblivion.
Well, to tap in the Frisbee, dumps it back to Parks. Fakes his Allen there. Goes with Parks again. Really commanding the Frisbee now. It's there with Anderson, dumps to Allen. Wallow crashing to Allen.
So Oblivion just trying to squeeze it through the cup. I'd love to see them work the break side, which they do now.
As Walter finds Parks, probably a bit of a travel there, but that's okay. Dumps back to Allen. Parks again. These two behind the Frisbee, really working it through the zone. Lots of little crashes as Allen now sneaks through with a little dishy from Parks. To Walla again, getting involved. To Allen, jumping it through. Possibly a little late, but that's okay. Not called. But, and there's, I think, a foul called. There we go, strip called.
Yeah, I'm not really sure with Oblivion's tactics of trying to use their legs to run it up through. They're just getting stuck through lots of bodies. I'd like to see them try to swing, jump and swing and move it off to the space.
Yeah, and like you said, they're just very comfortable just to continually crashing the cup and kind of jump it in. It's not pretty, but it seems to be working so far, and there it is, goal. Parks to Walla. It's happy for those three, really, just a small ball it the whole way up.
I mean, it is a goal, but I wouldn't say it's a convincing one.
No.
To get through a zone, yes, one way is to run it through from the back with the legs, which is what they were trying to do, but I'm not sure why they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. There was so much space on the outside towards the sidelines, just a little dump behind and a swing around. I mean, these guys have the throwing capability, I think they back themselves throwing in this wind, even in the dump swing. And with such an open play, they've got plenty of margin for error. So, interesting tactic to just keep forcing it through. We'll see if that pays off.
Yeah, it's also kind of a little bit dangerous to be using those tactics that they are.
Yeah. I mean, SHU also opting to hold the zone all the way through right until the very end. So we'll see if if there is a tactical adjustment later on, depending on how successful Oblivion are.
Yeah. Lots of sniffs in that zone though, so I guess I can take that away from it. As Oblivion now. Menzies to bring it in. Big outside in pull. Crashing down and finding the sideline. We'll see Jackie Chong bring this in as it looks like Oblivion attempt to put on a zone of their own here, forcing that low side. I think they'll find lots of success as long as Summit can't get this back to the high side. So, lots of pressure on the mark by Rabba. High blading flick. Just bobbled out of the hands there of Matthew Gordon. I think that is... Oh, and we'll see a zone thrown straight on by Summit. And a big bid from Gordon. But a goal there from Sears. Calm under the pressure of a diving Gordon.
Yeah, Sears did really well to attack that disc despite the flying Gordon, especially on that side of the end zone. There's not much margin for error, but interesting defensive looks from both teams, prioritizing the zone even deep in the defending end zone, as we saw with that quick turn. SHU putting on a zone, and then Oblivion doing the same, forcing that high stall bladey shot over the top. Not much Gordon could do about that as it bobbled out of his hands.
Yeah, I think that's a very big success for Oblivion to take away there. If they're going to force that low side and get a turn off the first pass, off the point. And it looks like both teams are going to be sticking to their zone guns.
I mean, we say low side and high side, but I feel like the wind is kind of just changing direction minute to minute. So we'll see how it goes. You can see the trees in the background flapping away.
Right now it's coming across kind of diagonal from your screen down to pretty much towards those players that you're seeing on stream now. So you can probably expect another zone here from Oblivion as Bradley pulls it in. I think that just landed inside the field, so Summit will get the Frisbee right near the sideline.
Yeah, about halfway or a bit shorter.
Ooh, looks like a brick's been called, so
I mean, not a bad option to try to go for the roller and pin the opposition to the sideline. You can certainly generate some turns, trapping and forcing those high throws or into the wind.
Yeah, and we can see now Little with the Frisbee. Throws.
Oh, she had that around shot, but still went back into the cup. As you see, very tight pommy. And just comes out of the fingertips of Gemma Ferguson, number 99. As Oblivion looked to get things underway, but that is a beard and he had fingertips to it. A slight deflection, but the pass is completed. Oblivion now, it's a standard match defense. I think Oblivion would like the look of the match. And Alex Patterson puts it up and just leads her receiver in Menzies to space. Now Menzies looks around as the troops get set. And it goes for an option, but a bit speculative to Patterson, but there may be a foul called. Not sure if that one was on the throw or the reception.
Looks like it's on the upline cut from Rabba there. He's calling it on Sean Davis. It'll be an interesting one because I think the defender kind of took the space that Rabba was cutting into. And I believe that was the intended throw that Menzies was going for.
And he's now retracted the call, probably because it didn't affect play, I would imagine, Callum.
I'd say so. He did stop the cut, so we can kind of see it here. It's a bit of contact on the way through, but yeah, Rabba did stop. As Davis now brings in the Frisbee. Goes upline the Little. Diving catch. Called out. So it looks like Oblivion will get the Frisbee back here. Patterson fielding the Frisbee. Goes to Bradley, and what a great block from Daniel Clark. Very good heads up defense, poaching in the lane. With a hammer across field. That's a lovely hammer in the wind. Too little. Oh, just throws it a little too hard there to Joab. Finds Tafer to Patterson. Oblivion working up line now. Has Cora Hayes, but snatched up by Little. Finds Severin. Small one to Clark. Davis, sorry, who has been found by Rabba. These two getting very involved early, but no bad blood between the two. This could be a very good matchup we see across the game.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see again, just trying to step through that mark and falls over. A bit removed right there.
Missed on a lovely D by Menzies, who immediately dumps it to Tafer. Finds Bradley with a rip of a backhand of Patterson, and that is a lovely goal for Oblivion to get their second break in a row.
Oblivion will be pleased about that one. They had several bites of the cherry. Alex Patterson being involved very much in that handler space. In the end, managing to sneak upfield. Bradley with a zipper through to cut through the wind. Just made it before Alex Patterson ran out of space on that far sideline. Oblivion, they'll be pleased to get the completions and get those breaks. Certainly hard earned as Southern Hills still putting on some fantastic defense both on zone and on match.
And we just saw that throw there on the screen. That is a lovely outside in backhand considering this wind. To perfection by Bradley there. I think we can expect Bradley and Patterson to link up quite a lot in this game. As we mentioned at the start, the female matching roster on this Oblivion team, very deep, very experienced. They're looking like a very strong unit out there. Lots of very great defensive looks. With Summit now just struggling to find offensive flow as Patterson rips in the Frisbee. And the brick will be called. Kleinig now bringing in the Frisbee as Oblivion put on a three-person zone.
Yeah, so this time instead of a pommy, they've got a 3-3-1. As we see the Frisbee go deep, and Oblivion had set up really well there to cover a little bit more of that deep space. as we see them now having to work it all the way upfield. But SHU getting their zone on pretty quickly. They've opted for that same pommy that was effective earlier in the piece. And Oblivion trying to get it back and around, but the dump's not really set up in optimal position. In the end, it floats up, gobbled up, but there is a call on the throw. The players haven't realised it quite yet, but there'll be some discussion now. So I like the fact that Oblivion were looking to go behind and around, but the dump just wasn't set up in the right space.
Yeah, it's going to be really important to have someone always on the back hip, especially with this wind that Oblivion will be facing against now. Looks like it's a foul called by Tafer on this throw. I think we'll see it here. High store count, stepping around. An immediate call as soon as the throw goes up.
Yeah, it's always tricky with these ones. You know, the defender thinks they're in the space first, the offense thinks they got there first. But the disc does indeed stay with Oblivion. And they have set up in the back hip as we were talking about earlier, Callum. Now gets to Alex Patterson in the middle of the field. And she gets a nice one through the cup to Sears. As they move things across to that fourth side again, and now they're trapped on this sideline. Oh, zips one through just past the outstretched hands of Gan. And Sears now with some fakes. Rabba just managing to sneak that one through the cup and a little bit too far for the dump there, causing a lot of trouble, this Pommy zone. But Southern Hills, they need to convert here to try and earn one of those breaks back. Gan on the sideline, back to Chong through their female matching players. And a lovely inside backhand. And Southern Hills in the red zone now. An arcing shot, arsing heaps of his receiver. Goes all out, but the disc tumbles to the ground. And Southern Hills will be pretty keen to try and trap the disc in this corner. It's proven to be difficult to get out of. Rabba again, the one asked to make the plays. This time Patterson sets up nicely behind for a jump, but that is a Callahan score by Southern Hills. Just stepped in front at the right moment. They are absolutely pumped about that one. Southern Hills, that zone paying dividends.
Wow. Our first Callahan we've seen on stream this tournament. And it's all come off the back of this successful Pommy zone. You see Rabba gets a dump there to Patterson. Just Tafer not quite switched on there. A lovely block from Wachtel to get it to, who caught that?
Yeah, Wachtel just got his mitts on it. Had one deflection, you see number one, number two. And that's a score. I think that might be Kleinig, Curtis Kleinig.
Lachlan Earl.
Lachlan Earl, there we go. Callahan to Lachlan Earl, although Wachtel might be claiming an assist there with the double tap.
I think so. That's an excellent defensive play.
And so that is now 2 breaks apiece. So Southern Hills starting off, Southern Hills are down the break at the moment. They started off with the first point break. There was a hold, a couple of breaks by Oblivion, and then now we are 3-2 with Oblivion up a break. And they'll be on offense this point. So Oblivion working it through. Jess Parks gets a little bit of contact on the mark. Just discussing that one. Looks like it'll be accepted. And Clark playing fantastic defense on the thrower to earn that block. Sean Davis with a short field now. Working through 1-2. And that is a score by Joab. Southern Hills slamming on the accelerator. 2 points straight now, a hold and a break, and it is back on serve.
Here we see it. Quick play after the turn from Davis here. Throws and goes. Has Joab in space. It's a lovely quick turn break to make it 3-all now. So 2 breaks apiece.
Yeah, just classic dominator movement here. Open side dump. Joab, time to cut really well. That lateral shape, just got a couple of steps out in front of Jess Parks. But, you know, credit for that turn to Clark, who had really high intensity defense on Jess Parks, forcing that underthrow. And that was how Southern Hills earned that point. So they'll be hoping to ride this momentum. 2 points straight, the last one a break. They'll be wanting to keep putting the foot on this accelerator to try and stamp Oblivion's hopes.
As we're seeing the wind proving difficult for both teams so far. It's Oblivion now fielding the Frisbee.
Pommy zone again.
Yeah, Parks to Allen. Looks like we're going to see these 3 behind the Frisbee again. It's Allen, Waller and Parks. And they're just looking like what they're comfortable doing is just small balling the whole way up. They've got a foul call here. Uncontested by Summit. So they've got Langston over the top of the cup in a bit of space. She's just in front, just behind the cam. And a D! Great work in the cup. By Chong there. As we go over the top, a big floating backhand. Lots of tall players underneath it. And Summit get another break.
Summit Hills ultimate, 3 points in a row. Didn't waste any time once they got the turn there. Their Pommy zone just looking really slick. That cup really tied on. Managing to get that block picked up very quickly by Chong, who goes for the arcing lefty backhand. Just outread. Both Oblivion players went up well too early, out of position. Just the scraps out the back there.
Yeah, an exceptional defense there from Kevin Lazada. As we now go to a timeout break. We'll be with you soon.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
All right, timeout over. Summit looking to continue their streak right now. 2 breaks in a row. They've clawed it back from Oblivion here. They were down 2 points. Down a break, and now they are up a break. Our zones seeing lots of success with this gusty wind. Excellent block in the cup before our break by Lazada.
Yeah, certainly the Southern Hills ultimate zone, in particular the cup, very tight. I heard some calls of perhaps a double team, so Oblivion might need to be a little bit less oblivious around those possible double teams. But I also think that their setup behind the disc, you know, there was a point when Rabba had no dump available, no one lateral, no one backwards, which made it so hard forcing that high-risk shot. So they're just going to have to set up that dump set a little bit smarter to get around the Southern Hills zone. As there is a block, but a foul call, there'll be some discussion here between Roberts and Severin.
We saw great flow before that from, once again, the three generals behind the Frisbee and Allen, Waller and Parks, with Wardle getting involved. As we see it here, Wardle gets the Frisbee. It's good heads-up defense in the lane. It's possibly a bit of contact as Davis now shoots, finds Childs in lots of space. So Joab, already been involved with one goal, dumps it and just out of the hands there of Ferguson. As Summit now in a good position with Oblivion bringing it in on that low side, trapped down in the corner. Wardle with it to Allen. Allen has, once again, no options behind the Frisbee. He's going to have to either jam it through the cup or around. As a foul's called. So Parks and Joab will have a discussion about contact.
So we can see here on the screen, Allen with the disc. He's only got that one dump behind to his right. But there is no one here on this side to swing it to. So there's no continuation. I think Leisha Roberts is in that space, but not recognising that she needs to actually spread the cup wider. Because all the players are positioned in that half of the field, it means that there's no way out, even if they did get the dump behind, and that's just killing them at the moment.
Yeah, we've seen it there. Allen really with no options. As Davis now has Clark, finds a little dishy up the line. Back to Davis. These two really commanding the Frisbee. Something from Dub goes for a push pass to Childs. And a lovely goal for Summit once again. Another break.
Again, punishing defense by Summit. Picking up just quickly when you've got a reliable handler, or handlers, should I say. It just makes quick work of it through Clark and Johnson. And a lovely little push pass there. Certainly you can see the male handlers in the backfield and the female handlers working hard in the cutting space. Just really committing to their cuts, beating their opponents to the cone. Certainly Summit looking to, really boost the energy here and try to really force themselves on this game.
Yeah, we're seeing Sean Davis kind of taking over that Summit offense here. Working well with receivers down the field with Childs and Joab. It's very good, while Oblivion, on the other hand, just kind of falling apart right now. Not recognizing successful strategies to get through this Pommy zone.
Was it Childs, the goal?
It was Davis. Summit now bringing the Frisbee back in. It's going to roll backwards a long way, unfortunately, as we see their Pommy zone with Bradley and Allen. Got Patterson behind the Frisbee, but sorry. It's back to Allen, who shoots it long. Has Sears in the end zone, but just over the fingertips. That's a great look. I think that was a no-look huck from Allen there. Pulling some tricks out the bag.
Again, Oblivion just getting stuck on that sideline. You could see Allen gesturing for his players in the dump space to move, but they just are not quite coordinated at the moment. If they're moving in the right space, it's at the wrong time. The handler's very disengaged. So they really just need to make these adjustments to have any chance of pegging it back. The score is 3-5 with Southern Hills Ultimate now up 2 breaks. So certainly a fair bit of work for Oblivion to get through.
Yeah, it just seems like they're not they need someone on the back hip. They need someone to dump it just straight backwards to get the swing. And it seems like Ethan Tafer, who's not on the field, he's the only one who's recognized that so far.
Yeah, it's not just the dump behind, but it's a continuation to that break side. They sometimes get the dump, but they just throw it back straight into the cup. So they're not really gaining any advantage there. No field position whatsoever.
And we just saw a lovely throw from Lazada to Holzman. Wow, we get a big, high, blading shot. It's fading. Gordon almost gets there with a Big shot there from Vanessa Gann.
Yeah, Gann's not afraid to put those ones up. Just not really win, and a hand block. A huge hand block from Gordon on Allen. Earns Southern Hills a short field as they set up their end zone play.
Wow, Allen looking to throw out of trouble there. That is amazing defense on the mark by Gordon there. He is having a game right now. His defensive energy has been unmatched as Earl throws a big hammer over the top. Oh, two diving players in Jackie Chong and Gordon again, who's going to get involved in this defense here as their throw just goes over Kara's head. It looks like Oblivion are trying to throw their way out of trouble right now. It's not what they need. It's not working. Fix it. Lovely as we see Earl bringing the Frisbee to Lazada, who's been very handy himself so far. Finds Earl, who's going to shoot a backhand over the top. He's got Gordon and Menzies with a huge block. It is excellent defense from both teams right now.
Both teams going for these big hucks. Makes for some exciting watching when you've got some great matchups.
Both teams, seems like they're trying to finish this point as quickly as they can, but just some great defensive energy.
Yeah, Bradley picking up the disc. Unfamiliar in the handler space so far in this game for Oblivion, but I guess the previous sets weren't working, so why not change up the personnel?
Maybe that's what they need. As Patterson now shoots a big flick over the top to Allen. He's got Nick Kara deep. Elects not to. It looks like Oblivion got a small ball us up. They've got a lot of open field in front of them as they're happy to dribble 1-2s all the way to the end zone. Allen's got options. Flicks it over to Menzies. He's got time and space. Makes it look difficult, but he's Oblivion. Finished the point, ending the run of breaks. Oh dear. What a point.
Jeez, Oblivion. I thought they had a couple of opportunities there. Couldn't quite get the disc to the line, but finally their big game didn't work, but they managed to pivot to the small ball, and that dribbling did work up. That is the risk running those pommy zones, is that once the opponents get the disc over the top of the cup, there's so much space, and we saw Oblivion actually punish Southern Hills this time in that point to work it through. And as we said, some different faces in the handler set, Menzies and Kara. Luckily they eventually worked it out between them, but it's looking a bit dicey. They were running out of space towards the back of the line there. But Oblivion, they'll be relieved, I would say, to get that one to make it 4-5. We will get the scoreboard corrected for you soon.
I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off Oblivion there. We'll give a quick shout out to Sir Richard Cooper.
Mike, it's 4-5.
As Allen now, the big roller. So he's trapping them on the far sideline, on that low side, as Davis now brings in the Frisbee. And immediate inside flick, just out of reach for his receiver in Kleinig. As Menzies now with the Frisbee. It looks like Summit are going back to this zone. It must be very pre-organised. There's a hammer over the top to Rabba. Has a few options behind the Frisbee. Finds Bradley. There we go. Rabba recognising. Needs to get behind the Frisbee. But needs to move it a little bit faster. Finds it, and it's just short of Tafer. But that's what Oblivion need to do.
Yep, agreed, Callum. They need to use that open space, dump behind and swing it so that the cup is moving. Because when the cup are static, it's easy.
Especially for the cup. Yeah, it's great. Davies has the Frisbee now on the side. So goes a hammer over the top. Looks a little overcooked. Menzies is in the area, and it looks like...
Line beat them both.
Yeah, it looks like that might have been a little too long. We're seeing hammers now from both teams. Just slightly overcooked there to Kleinig. As Rabba will field the Frisbee.
Yeah, so we've got at least Bradley sitting in that dump space. I think that's a good move. She's, I think, pretty steady with the disc, makes some good decisions. I think she'll position herself to get that kind of dump and swing.
As Rabbit now dumps to Allen. Who has Tafer going deep. Picks it off, dumps to Rabba. They're happy to work it down this low side, and Tafer's got a bit of space now. Patterson will flick it across with an easy block. Oh, and Tafer regathers. Oh, he's dropped it. That is exceptional defense from Little there. He's going to find Kleining up the line. Looks like Oblivion putting on their own zone now. As Davis with the Frisbee. They're trapping this sideline. It's high stall count. Finds Severin. As Joe being close, goes over the top to Childs. Lots of pressure running through with Allen. A little bit reckless and a foul call. Looks as though it'll be uncontested. An accepted foul call from Allen as Childs with the Frisbee now. Finds Joab. And they're happy just a small ball here through. Severin to Childs.
I like the use of their female handler set here, just playing lots of small ball. They look really comfortable, no one looks rushed, and that's a score, easy as you like. Childs to Joab. Sorry, that's Severin to Joab. So certainly the female matching players on SHU showing what they've got. I really like how calm they look on the disc. They don't look frazzled, whereas a few times you see in Oblivion kind of a bit frustrated, hands up in the air, desperate for a look, and Southern Hills just happy to sit with it, wait for that open shot. They know that the teammate's going to work for them. So in a really good headspace at the moment, Southern Hills.
Yeah, finding lots of success with this zone. And also happy to work through opposing zones as well. So here we see a great D from Little, and Tafer gets two hands on it, and it's just
ground stripped. Yeah, I think the elbows just turfed the deck and just bobbled out.
It's a lovely second effort.
Second and third effort.
Yeah. All but the catch at the end. So Tafer showing his athleticism, but it's a great D from Little there, just controlling all of that deep space. As Oblivion looked like they were through that zone there, but Summit not giving up on the Frisbee. As Wachtel looks to bring in the Frisbee. Big outside in pull. Going to land on that low side for Waller. Just a little dishy to Allen, who goes to the high side to Wardell. Plays underneath it. Oh, Lozano almost with another D. He has been a defensive powerhouse so far, with Waller finding Anderson. Anderson dumps to Allen. Tells his troops to get downfield. Has a backwards dump. He just overcooks it. Wardle's got some ground to make up.
And there is no one here on that continuation break side, so they're forced to go back onto that fourth side.
And Allen just lets one go. That's going to sail out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't know that Allen's got the vision here. He was indicating able to go downfield, but what he needed, he did get the backward dump, so that setup was fine, but there was no continuation on this break side to speak of. And when you're going all the way that far back, you're getting trapped in your end zone, it's just not going to work.
No, as we see Wachtel trying to throw it back.
Makes use of the roll too.
Oh, letting it trickle along as Allen picks up the Frisbee again. You've got to think he's holstering the huck at this point, as finds a blade over the top to Anderson. Comes to Wardle. Back to Anderson. Finds Waller through. Has Wardle again. He's just taking his time on the end zone. Easy as you like it. To Sears, I believe. So, Oblivion holding.
Yeah, so Oblivion doing a little better to work their way through this Southern Hills zone. I wouldn't say they're too convincing though, but the score is 5-6. Apologies, the scoreboard not quite up to date, but we will get there eventually, folks.
It's still early. Warming up.
Yeah, caffeine hasn't quite hit.
See, it's lovely work from Anderson, Waller and Wardle just to move through this open space. That's Wardle there. Yeah, finds Roberts. Apologies.
Yeah, correct score.
There we go. Scoreboard updated, and we'll see Bradley with the Frisbee. Let's see. You can expect another zoner here from Oblivion. It is a game of zone so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the zone was okay, but I guess we haven't seen too much of the match to see how effective it's been. But I would say maybe switching it up to a different type of zone, or maybe just putting a match on to give a different look.
There goes Davis with a sliding field. Throws over to Little, and there's just a drop there from Joab. And we'll see Allen pick up the Frisbee with Trong forcing to that low side. Lots of energy on the mark here. Gets an upline throw to Bradley, who throws that same outside in backhand we've seen before, and it's just out of the reach of Thomas Walters.
You can just feel the energy kind of dropping a little bit all across the board. At this point, I think people are starting to maybe tire a little bit. You know, the sun's pretty warm and penetrating. I think maybe the concentration is just lapsing for both sides at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say so. As Davis fires Trong there on the inside. Finds Childs. Summit moving it up the centre quite well now. Trong with a bit of time. Finds Davis again. Has someone streaking to the break side. Has a small one right in front of him to Severin. And a bit of contact there from Allen and Davies. I'm not really sure what's going on. A bit of a shoulder to shoulder.
Oh yeah, they bounce off each other really. But I guess both teams making the call to try and work out what the acceptable level of contact is, which I think is good, fairly early in this game to establish the boundaries.
I think as long as it stays between those two, should be fine. As Davis finds Little now. Back to Davis. Big swing to Severin, who has Trong with a one-handed grab. And a great regathering after it bounces off his hand initially.
Lovely score by Southern Hills Ultimate. They had that early drop but didn't let it get to their heads. Got the D back and managed to turn it up. Sean Davies proving ever reliable, just anchoring this Southern Hills team. So you see that really lovely low release backhand here. And we have Severin with the assist to Truong. Severin just always in the right space, always offering an easy dump or a short upline 100% option. So I'm really liking Severin's involvement. Her and Childs have been working this D-line offense very well for this team, which has contributed to many scores already.
Yeah, a few assists to Severin's name already. And Childs has got a goal of her own so far. Definitely a commanding unit there behind the Frisbee, partnering up with Davis. As we see Summit now just 1 point away from taking half. As we see the pull come in from Vanessa again. It's going to trickle out to the middle of the field with Wardle. Throwing to Parks. Back to Wardle. As Summit put on the same Pommy zone that's found them lots of success so far. Little one over the top to Allen, who's going to shoot. Wachtel getting underneath it with Pig Patterson taking a goal over the top of Wachtel. Great celebration from Patterson.
Yeah, Pato, difficult one to beat. He is a tall man, big in stature. Wachtel did well to put a little bit of pressure on that one, but ultimately the height won out. So Oblivion, probably the most efficient score, I would say, so far, and probably the first clean hold we've seen in a while as well, Callum.
Yeah, no turns. Very good flow and execution from Oblivion. I think a better decision from Allen there and great execution finds Patterson. Lots of space. Again, we didn't see great handler set up behind the cup, but they're able to work it through.
Yeah, the key was, I think it was Alan who got like a little high release over the top. Chong jumped, but not tall enough to stop that. So once they got it over the cup, it was just that big huck option. You know, the deep what had kind of snuck in a little bit too far, or maybe just kind of misjudged how much ground he could make up, and that was the thing that opened up that big shot and the score.
Yeah, I guess if you're not going to dump and swing, may as well go over the cup. As Menzies now. Big pull to start this point. As we'll see Clark and Severin and Davis behind the Frisbee here. With Oblivion throwing on the... So, and that is a lovely block from Ethan Tafer, laying out in front of Clark. This young man is not afraid to leave his feet. You see him with the Frisbee now. Calm behind the Frisbee as Tafe finds Walters, who swings it to Menzies. Walters gets it back, a little one over the top. Oh, had Hayes there, but Davis cuts that pass off. He's now trapped on the low side. Makes Tafer bite on the fake. Has Kleining underneath it with Menzies in hot pursuit, and Kleining comes down with the Frisbee. That is an excellent grab. Dumps it to Little. Gets it back, 1-2, goal for Kleining. That is a great point from Southern Hills Ultimate. Kleining, the star there.
Absolutely. Oblivion showing they've got the big game. Southern Hills showing they've got it too. Davis with such convincing fakes there to open up that break side. Rips a huge backhand. Plenty of float. Always had position. And then just a lovely 1-2 to finish off that point. And that is half 8-6 to Southern Hills Ultimate. They'll certainly be pleased using both their small ball and big game. Very effective Pommy zone. We've had a cracking first half here. Stay with us for the second as we see you on the other side.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Harslinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe ULTI.TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo! If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of ULTI.TV.
Regardez ULTI.TV. Deviens un membre d'ULTI.TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top ULTI.TV. Dale-me, eroginkime, Ultimate Vandromena.
Si quieres ayudar a ULTI.TV, puedes ser miembro de ULTI.TV.
Everyone, follow ULTI.TV on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på ULTI.TV.
Became member of ULTI.TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec ULTI.TV.
Like and subscribe. ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future, and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back for the second half of Oblivion versus Southern Hills Ultimate Summit. Southern Hills Ultimate finishing that half very strongly. They are currently up 2 breaks on Oblivion.
Yeah, it's been a great game so far. Lots of athletic plays. It has been a battle of the zones so far, so we can probably expect that from Oblivion here. As the disc comes in, technically not a drop from Little there. Finds Clark. Looks like Oblivion trying out some match defense. Oh, Menzies with a big bid as Davis now has Childs out in space. A lovely grab for the goal. And Summit making it look as easy as you'd like it.
Absolutely, Summit finishing the half with a quick score and starting the second with another. The match defense, I like the change up, but unfortunately weren't able to slow down Southern Hills very much. Davis again being very prominent, distributing the disc perfectly to Childs. As we see here, they make short work of that match and just no defenders in sight. They had about 3 receivers in that space, so maybe a bit of miscommunication there. Perhaps someone calling for a switch or help and message not quite being received. So Southern Hills, well done. Coming out of half very strong. And I think mentally also showing a little bit more resilience here. You could feel a little bit of frustration from the Oblivion team. I think they know that they've got the personnel to get the job done here, but just aren't able to produce that performance as it stands.
Yeah, it looked like halftime chats were a lot about how to work through this zone. Apparently taking up the commentator's advice of the backwards dump with lateral swing. So hopefully now they'll put players behind that Frisbee as Summit look to break away here and continue their dominance that they displayed in the first half, as again with a lovely pull fielded by Parks. Allen with his best cupcake impression as Summit reapply their zone. Once again, Oblivion don't have the backwards dump, but happy to work it all the way down to the low side. As they find Parks on the break side now to Roberts, to Waller. It's a big blading flick to Langston on the far side. Catches it, has Patterson. Alex not. Throws to Robertson, there's a goal for Oblivion. As they find their way through the Summit zone.
Yeah, took our advice, Callum. They eventually did work out how to set up that dump and that continuation on the break side. And then a couple of shots through the cup did well to make that work. Langston picking it up off her toes, and then a nice little assist to Roberts. As we see here, they came out on the fat side, which actually gave them the room here and opened up Langston. It was a difficult throw, but made it work. And Roberts here, she didn't go for the first option, but reassessed the situation and saw it as an open throw.
Just a light jog into the end zone for Roberts.
Yeah, I would really like to see some of the female matching players on Oblivion perhaps step up a little more. You know, tell the blokes just to go downfield. Like, we got it sorted in this backspace because I think they're a bit more clued in into the spaces that they can attack and where the strong space is on the field.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of success with both teams clawing their way up to this high side. As Bradley now looking to bring in the Frisbee. See a roller down to that low side, just finding its way out, just past halfway.
Yeah, Oblivion should look to try and trap it on this sideline.
Oh, and Carroll almost getting there with a lovely jump from Clark. Bringing that high Frisbee. Has Gann. Throws to Kleinig. Gets through the cup there to Gann again. To Severin. Crucial stuff, but just out of the reach of Ferguson. It's Patterson now picking up the Frisbee.
Some match defense by Southern Hills.
What a lovely grab from Sears. One hand below the ankle. Finds Tafer now, who has Rabba behind the Frisbee. Engages his dump. Finds a lovely flick round. Rabba and Tafer looking to dominate as Davis rolls. Finds Rabba, has Menzies at the back corner. Disc floats up and just over the head and out of the reach of Menzies.
Your heart sinks when you see that. It looks like a good shot out of the hands, and then the wind just picks it up and takes it up a few meters and drops right back out the back of the end zone. As we have Davis bringing the disc up. Well supported by Clark in the backspace. But a nice cut into the cup by Kleinig. As they just work their way. Oh, and that's a fumble and drop through the hands of Kleinig. Oblivion, a chance here to slot it in for a break. They haven't had a break all the way since 2-1 or 3-1, shall I say. Oh, and Clark makes sure that there isn't another opportunity with a layout on the D. Big fakes from Davis to get the cup moving. Goes up to Ferguson. Davis just 1-2ing up the field, but that one falls out of hands, and there is a call on the throw by Severin on Rabba. Or perhaps a travel. We'll just see if there are some hand signals to let us know what's been called. I suspect might be a travel called on Davis because everyone's moving all the way back. Or a foul. And Davis will get things underway again. So copy and paste there with Severin, and goes a really fast hammer. I don't think he gave his receivers any opportunity to get under that one. Southern Hills sideline calling for the zone to set again. And they've changed their minds and gone for a match. So a low throw, but picked up off the ground by Sears.
Lovely hand so far. Not dropping anything below the ankle.
Davis playing really tight match defense. Kleinig has the Rabo matchup. A nice backhand to Alex Patterson, but a travel called. And the disc will come back in to this open side to Menzies. And a nice leading backhand to Patterson in flow, and she goes for a backhand to Sears, and that floats beautifully into the breadbasket of Sears. Oblivion looking a bit cleaner out in their second half, and that is a break. That's their first break since 3-1 in the piece. So we are now at 8-9. Oblivion staying in touch, making sure that their spirits are still high and still fighting for this match.
And as you've called for, Avril, female matching players now stepping up with Patterson to Sears, and that is just a lovely throw. Sears having a blinder of a point. See that Patterson just streaking up the middle of the field.
Yeah, I think
so much better.
Yeah, I think the passes that they all had were perfectly led in front, so the receiver could catch it in stride, didn't have to slow down or stop or change direction. And so, you know, when you hit those throws as accurately as you do, it's just so easy to get the flow, because as a downfield cutter, cutting off the continuation, you know exactly when to time you turn or when to time you cut.
It's Oblivion now, still down a break, looking to start a roll of their own. We saw Summit have a fair bit of success before halftime. We've been trading ever since, and Oblivion now to bring in the Frisbee. It looks like we might get a zone here from Oblivion. Nice pull comes in from Menzies. Multiple fielders behind it. It's Little now. The big arc from Little. It's got two plays underneath it. And a great block from Menzies. Looks like there'll be a foul called from Tay. It's underneath it.
It's worth a chat. Tay did have front position there. And it did look a little like Menzies kind of reached over the top, as we see here on the replay. Big shot goes up by Little.
Yeah, it looks like Menzies kind of gets his hand in front and gets a lot of the Frisbee there.
Yeah, I mean, Tay, good body position to maintain in front. It's always difficult for a defender to come over the top and interfere.
We have a retracted foul from Tay.
Okay, opposite to what we thought, as it goes. And so Oblivion with a chance for a second break in a row.
There is the zone from Summit, as Tafer now with the Frisbee. Alexa not to shoot. There it is. Our backwards dump to Rabba, who decides he'll shoot. As Menzies just bobbles the Frisbee, chasing it over his shoulder.
Always difficult when the disc is literally flying over your head and you have no idea where it is. He did well to get to the spot, but unfortunately just didn't have time to position his hands in the right place.
Yeah, lots of room for Oblivion to swing there, but electing to shoot might not have been the go. And Little, the snatching grab from Chong, but just hits the ground before it reaches their hands a little.
Yeah, that lefty flick. Unfortunately, just that outside in blading into the ground, the wind also pushing it down too. Fantastic dump defense, but eventually gets up line, but too tall, not too tall for Chong, the shortest player on the field. Make sure of it, slamming it to the ground. And Southern Hills, another opportunity here through Holzman to Chong. Chong marshalling really well through to Lazada. Oh, and that one is just a little beyond. Rabba just asking Oblivion to slow down. Everyone's kind of a little bit stunned, not knowing, was there a foul call? No hand signals to speak of. So we'll just try and work out what happened there as we see Steve Baker, the game advisor. So is it turnover, and the possession will be with Oblivion. Rabba picks up the disc, goes for that dump, and swing is faked off. Surprise, surprise. And that one just goes through the mug of Tafer.
That's what Oblivion need to do, though. Despite the fact that they faked the swing, but chance for Gordon. Despite the fact that they faked the swing, the Cubs still bit. They moved well out the way, and they had a lot of space downfield.
Yeah, they opened up the cup, and then they're able to get it through the cup. It wasn't caught, but that was another way that they could work through it. And there is another call here. A foul on the play, so the disc will stay with Southern Hills Ultimate.
Yeah, Earl quick to call that one out their hands. He'll bring back in the Frisbee, finds up line. Great grab there.
Holzman now trapped on the sideline. She is looking a little unsteady. Lozado tries, but the cup wins this time.
Great block from Bradley.
Yeah, that sideline is proving quite difficult to get off. Bradley now, they work it up this break side, and there is a timeout called by Menzies. Not a bad decision, giving the freneticism of this point.
Yeah, this will give time for Oblivion. So we now just move to a timeout break, but we can see great blocks from Bradley. 3-4 attempts. We now transition to a nap break.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
All right, and we are back after that timeout break as Summit begin to apply their zone defense. As we see Oblivion setting up in a horror, which will probably transition to some poppers and deeps as Menzies finds Bradley to Walter. Back to Bradley. There we go. We've got that backwards dump and someone there for the continuation as they go to the top, and Tafer somehow comes down with that despite the efforts of Trong, who dumps it back to Bradley, back to Tafer. Tafer with a bit of time, and Rabba getting behind the Frisbee. That's what they need. As he breaks, we've got Menzies there to cover. It's good. Menzies now back to Rabba. Finds Walter. This is great flow from Oblivion. This is what they need. Has Kara in the end zone and goal. Menzies to Kara for another break as Oblivion now claw it back to 9-all.
Oblivion, their zone O finally switching on. Now we're getting to the latter stages of this game. Working that dump swing set really well. Players in the space. We know they've got the throwers. You saw Rabba getting a nice little inside break there to get through the cup. As we see the replay. Bobbled up high, but there were no defenders in that space, so they were giving them that option all day. Menzies makes quick work of it. And then because they spread the cup are trying to catch up and they just can't get there quick enough and just zips through to Kara. So finally the zone offense for Oblivion turning on to bring it to 9-all, and that is 2 breaks straight and 3 breaks in a row, replicating Southern Hills Ultimate's efforts in the latter stages of that first half. So we are back on serve, I believe, Callum.
Yeah, I'm really liking what Rabbit did there when he got the second swing. So in the first swing, he kind of got the Frisbee, well, the first dump really. Got the Frisbee, but didn't throw it straight away. I think with the second dump he got, he swung it straight away, and I think that's what's opened up the field there. So hopefully he's taking that away from that point, and so are the rest of Oblivion, that the dump and swing that happens fast, that's what's breaking the zone right now. Is Menzies. It's a big pull downfield, field by little to Severin. So these two look to work it up the sideline. This finds Kleinig. Back to Severin. Sorry, to Kleinig again. There we go, Severin involved. It's Oblivion. Lots of energy on the mark from Rabba, circling all the way around. Declining again. He's getting involved in the handler space. Despite what we've seen so far, he's been very helpful downfield. It's a little bit the Frisbee now, finds Kleinig again.
Yeah, now Southern Hills trapped on this sideline. Let's see if they can get out of trouble.
This Jive now finds herself, and that's a lovely flick. Finds Kleinig up the line. They're happy to cram it in this space. They probably needed to take that dump there. It's Kleinig again. Crashes from Davis. And now they're a little bit trapped.
Yeah, I think Davis has drawn the, what we call the assassination or one-on-one matchup whilst everyone else is in the zone, but he ends up getting 3 and throws an assist with his knees on the ground to Bruce Strong. And Southern Hills showing that they can get it done despite some heavy pressure from Oblivion's zone.
Yeah, and I think the assassination is probably the right move. Like, Sean Davis has been the general out there. He is every Frisbee, every goal has moved through him. I think the assassination is a good call. Worked well for the first half of that point. See, Davis will find a way to get involved once he recognises the assassination, but I think that's the right call from Oblivion.
Yeah, I think Sean Davis recognised that he was being matched one-on-one and everyone else was set up in zone. So he actually purposely set himself away from that handler space. That's why, you know, you mentioned that Kleinig, who was in the back space, we're not used to seeing him there. But, you know, Severin, we know, has been reliable in that space. So allowed those plays to evolve without dragging that extra defender in. And then obviously once it got towards the tail end of the point and towards the red zone, managed to kind of get involved and really get that last assist through. But you know, Southern Hills showing they've got plenty of depth in their roster, showing that they've got the throwing prowess in these conditions. And yeah, it makes it an interesting game to be on serve 9-10 in the latter stages.
Scan here. Another great pull. There's Parks, fields to Allen. Another mark. Different zone look from Summit now. There's Parks. There's Lozado in front of her. Dumps to Allen.
Yeah, looks more like a 3-3-1, although that middle or short deep is still fairly close to that cup.
Yeah. Lozado's kind of playing a straight up mark here. Kind of still shading for the throw to go to the low side.
Yeah, almost like a little arrowhead, hey?
Yeah. Here we go. Parks now. Back to Allen. That looks more like a conventional pommy. He finds over the top to Anderson and just bobbles in the wind, I think. That was a great look from Allen there. Been creative with his throws so far as a Kookaburra gets a bug. Awesome. Walked it to Lozado. Just an unfortunate drop.
Bounces off his chest, but I'm sure Lozado will be putting plenty of pressure on this mark. We have Allen moving to pick the disc up. And the inside shot goes through 2 receivers. And Chong snaffles that one to make sure of it. And there's an injury call. I think that might be Little who's coming off. Oh, sorry, Earl. That is coming off the field. So, may I say daring inside shot in these conditions, just got popped up and went through 2 sets of hands.
Yeah, you're showing the underside of the disc to the direction that the wind's coming from. It's most likely going to pop up, and just unfortunate to get through 2 potential receivers. And somehow Chong, once again, coming down with the Frisbee. She finds little.
And I have to say, we've seen very little of the Frisbee close to this sideline. Most of the defenses forcing to go to the other, but that one just goes straight into Chong's face. Had to defend the teeth there. And Oblivion will set up for an end zone play. Allen again walking to the disc with Lozado, hefty pressure on the mark. And Allen brings in and over the top to Jess Parks, makes it work. She sets up that cut very nicely, close to the thrower, which provides plenty of space out the back and an easy high release shot to finish the point to bring it 10-all.
Yeah, Severin caught face marking a little too strong there. But very difficult to be isolated in space with Parks. It's not a job that anyone would be eager to put their hand up for.
No, and very difficult for help defense as well, because all of the other players are so far away in the stack. So that's not a favorite place for me to be as a defender, that's for sure.
Good, but Oblivion taking advantage of turnovers near their attacking end zone. So Summit need to just tidy that up a little bit. They're just falling behind right now. They've stemming the bleeding, now trading back and forth, but looking to go on a run of their own now.
Yeah, it does feel like both teams have finally settled into this game. It felt like it took Oblivion's offense ages to do that, but now that they've settled in, it'll be who can kind of dial it up, dial up the intensity, you know, make some of those big plays which are happening earlier in this game to generate the blocks and then stay cool, calm and collected on offense to convert. As we have pretty intense defensive pressure from Oblivion, but Southern Hills now work it up past halfway. And Davis, familiar territory in the backfield. Kleigig's popped up a fair bit through the latter stages here. We have Ferguson down the disc with that far sideline. Davis makes the upline cut. She doesn't like the look, but goes to Kleinig on the around break. Back to Davis. Kleinig just left on his own upline. That's dangerous. And Davis, he goes for an upline shot. Kleinig, clean as you like. And that is a score for Southern Hills Ultimate and a clean hold to boot. Certainly looking really clean, both sides on offense in the latter stages of this game with some really high quality ultimate. Great to see in sunny Nelson Bay.
Yeah, Kleinig's really stepping up right now. It's pretty cool to see that we've seen him go downfield and receive those from Davis, and now looks like the roles are reversing almost a little bit with Kleinig picking up an assist and Davis with a goal. Hills are looking strong. They're looking settled.
Yeah, everyone looking really switched on now. So we'll see who can actually wrangle possession off the defense, given how clean it's been. And then the conversion.
Yeah. Looks like both teams are figuring out the zones as well, so.
Yeah, a couple more match points we've seen. Oh no, it's correct. It's 10-11. 10-11. Sorry, I just said in our order.
As Wachtel now brings in the Frisbee. Lovely big inside-out backhand pull. Floating down to Waller. Might just trickle out of bounds. This brick is called by Allen.
That was a good-looking pull, but just maybe a metre off-centre. Pinning Oblivion to the back of the end zone would have been a nice bonus, but they are going to bring up to the brick mark. We have Earl on the mark. Severin Tay and Holzman in the cup with Allen. Goes to the open side. Now they'll be looking to trap on this sideline, Southern Hills, but squeeze it through that narrow channel and now comes through the cup to Patterson. Knocking on the doorstep now. So Oblivion looking to make quick work of the zone. And goes for a bladey flick to no one. Just a little miscommunication with Patterson gives Southern Hills Ultimate the opportunity for a break. If they get this, they will go up 12-10, almost 81 minutes played. And looks like he established his pivot in the back of the end zone, so he had to throw from there, but that goes immediately out of bounds and into the car. And that sunroof won't be looking too happy there.
Yeah, if you drive that silver Subaru, you have got, I'm going to snitch here, but Ted Wachtel, I would be getting your insurance ready. That was a questionable decision, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he took it from that spot and didn't walk it up. I don't know if the Oblivion player called a travel, but here we are back into live play. We've got Parks with the disc, second bite, and there we go. The score to Langston. That was thrown by Wardle. And so Oblivion had to have a couple of bites at the cherry, but in the end managing to hold that point to take it to 11-11. I thought that was the opportunity for SHU to get that break, but a bit of a brain failed or concentration lapse. Not sure what happened there.
We've seen it from both teams. I think they're just looking to throw it out of trouble when they find pressure while they're deep in their own zone.
Yeah, but he got the block and then started it at the back of the end zone. Like, I think most people would just pick it up, slowly walk up, wait for the offense to get set. And again, I don't know if there was a travel called and someone said he established a pivot, but yeah, it's very, very strange.
Maybe the message was huck and zone.
Yeah, huck from the back of your end zone.
There's Oblivion now. Now, time cap has gone, so they will play this point and add one to the highest score. So we will have a game to 13.
And the wind just starting to gust up now. Really pushing from our camera vision towards the far side. So still remaining a little unpredictable, which will make it interesting in these last few points of the game.
So we see Davis, Clark and Little behind the Frisbee now. Little shoots and a big sniff there from Patterson. Big Childs calm with the Frisbee. Has Little. As Oblivion now working through some match defense, and Davis power position, big backhand huck. Has Trong there, and Walters comes in, and that's a lovely block, but there's a second chance for Trong, who gets the score. It will be a game to 13 as Trong scores for Summit. And that is never giving up on the Frisbee to a T. That is a great job from Trong.
Absolutely, and the big wind up from Sean Davies. Trong in an acre of space. They thought he'd overran it and just misjudged it with the wind, but good enough to keep his eye on the prize after that deflection. As we see, he kind of overran it, gave it to him an opportunity, but just the sense of mind to go for that second bid. That is a valuable hold there for 12-11 in prime position to hopefully close out this game.
Oh, and Walters is so unlucky there.
Yeah, he goes, oh, I should have caught my D.
A valuable lesson to take away is Summit now calling a line with the intention of putting this game to bed. They do not want this to go to Universe. They want to break, win by 2.
Yeah, and we've got Davis, as you'd expect, on the field. We've got both Severin there as well and Childs, who have been so steady throughout this entire game. So certainly putting a line on to really get this break. I'm a little surprised Lazada's not on field. He's provided some very good defensive pressure. But trusting the depth in their roster to get the job done.
Yeah, it looks like they're opting for a few more handler types. possibly once they get the turn, looking to work it up. This breeze, which is kind of diagonal. Upwind as Parks fields to Allen, who we've seen this high release flick a few times, but Anderson makes sure of it this time. She's got Patterson streaking up the line, finds a short little one to Parks. Throws it to Allen. Has Parks behind, but swings to Waller. As Parks crashes and takes out Joab.
Yeah, that cup just proving to be very tight and not allowing much space for that handler strike, but they're going to have a chat about it. I'm assuming it's a foul that's been called. There's no hand signals to indicate as such, and now there is. Could have confirmed that. So accepted foul. I think Jess Parks on Joab.
Yeah, I think an offsetting foul. As Parks looks to crash through the cup and Joab kind of jumps in the way. So there we go. The disc will come in, stalling one. As Waller now with the Frisbee has some options, needs to practice some patience. This particular line from Oblivion are the ones who don't really seem to ever go with the backwards dump, and they just would rather crash it in small ball instead. As Allen now with the Frisbee, another crash, doesn't like it, and Earl calls a travel.
And demoing what he saw from Allen. Allen with some twinkle toys of his own.
Yeah.
So the game certainly tight, and so is the cup and the zone offense. As you said, a stylistic choice from Allen and Parks just to bash through the cup and go for the little ball.
Yeah, I think the other liners from Oblivion showed more discipline with Rabba, Tafer and Wardle, but look, these three, they've made it work so far. There's been a few errors, but we'll have to trust the process as it comes in. Mid-stall count, pops it over the top for Waller. He gets now the cup biting on his fakes, has Parks, can now afford to squeeze it on that open side. Has Anderson over the top. Chooses not. He's going to fake his way around. He has Patterson right there on the cone, screaming. Waller goes to Allen, who swings now. It's a lovely break throw to Parks. There we go to Patterson. And Langston makes sure of it. We have a universe game on our hands, folks.
Oh, this game deserved it, didn't it, Callum? It's been tight from the beginning, breaks both ways, and then everyone kind of settling in, and a few clean holds as well towards the tail end. And now we have a universe point. We'll see what the two teams have in store for us.
Very interested to see what lines are called for each teams. Obviously, we've seen Hills with a very strong offensive line. You can expect the likes of Davis, Clark, and Little out there with Severin and Child. They've been exceptional behind the Frisbee so far, and that's what's out there at the minute with two players they're calling on. They've called on Ferguson and Joab for their universe offensive line. We're looking at Oblivion, and we can see Allen, Menzies, and Wardle for the melee matching players with Anderson, Patterson, Kara and Bradley out there. Interested to see what kind of defensive look Oblivion will force Hills to overcome if they are to win this game.
My bet would be the Pommy Zone D. It's been working for them, and I'd suspect quite a few of the female matching players in that zone in the front cup. And just working out, it is a female matching point, so it will be a female matching player to pull. And Bradley's got the duties for this one. And she again goes for that roller pull. This one actually stays a little bit more in zone, so Southern Hills Ultimate are able to center the disc. Now they work it around, a little bit of a zoney or junky look from Oblivion. And Joab now with the disc. And that is a clean D. There is no call. So Oblivion with a short field here on Univest point. Allen picking up the disc. Bradley as his dump in support. Fakes off the open shot. Fakes off the break shot. Goes to Anderson up line. Working hard now on the doorstep. Back to Allen. Just waiting for the plays to evolve. Wardle's working hard. And again, just stuck on this sideline. Davis with his back to the disc. And they are forcing Oblivion behind. And now there's a speculative shot to Menzies, but he makes good. And Kara with the catch. And the Universe point goes to Oblivion.
Wow, Oblivion taking the game, snatching it away from Hills, who were up early in the game. Oh, there could have been a turnover there right before the end. Menzies tracking down a trailing away Frisbee, popped over his head, and Kara, right place, right time to win the game for Oblivion. As we'll see it here. Water with a lovely break shot to Allen, who swings to the high side, just bobbles up in the wind. Menzies making sure of it, and Kara just steps inside of Ferguson. It's a big celebration from Oblivion. This game means a lot to them. They would not want to go down early in the tournament.
Yeah, I thought Oblivion might have waited until too late, but finally worked her way through that zone, the Pommy zone that Southern Hills put up. Finally managed to work those dump swings, get a few more opening shots, making that cup work in the end, just in time. We knew that they had some really strong personnel on field, particularly their female matching players, and they certainly came good towards the tail end of this one.
Yep. A clear message at halftime, and Oblivion's adjusted, and they have won the game. It's a fantastic first game to start the day. Energies are high. Thank you very much for tuning in to ULTI.TV. We'll see you for our next game slot.
ULTI.TV.